thankfully, not all companies are run by money-grubbing jackasses.
Some are just overrun with trolls and assholes and people who think they know better. And a fan base that's rabid and stupid and thinks that they own the world because they have an opinion. We're talking about Twitter, by the way.
Yeah.
No. Today we're going to speak about the important case of social media and the dangers of parasocial relationships. But first, a little context. Surely many of you have known as the internet personality known as Lindsay Ellis, formerly known as the Nostalgia Chick. Back in the heyday, after some serious personal issues and some bad shit that went down, she left the channel Awesome and started her own channel on YouTube where she does her own analysis and surprisingly insightful takes about movies and books that she likes. She developed a fan base. After all, she was well liked back in the heyday, and as a result, the fan base became very big. And then it became bigger and bigger and bigger until it became the greatest and the worst kind of fan base, the huge parasocial fan base. Twitter is what is known by the rational person as a crumbling hive of scummy and building. Kind of like the septic tank of social media. After Tumblr disappeared, all the escapees came over there and everything just got even worse, if that was possible. So, as we know, Miss Ellis has a bunch of stuff in her life that is awfully controversial. I'm not going to get into it. That is stuff that is discussed in the video she posted. But more importantly than that, she's done some stuff and people have dragged her for some stuff. However, recently some shit went down. Shit went down so badly that she was forced to deactivate her Twitter account and go on a drunken, angry 1 hour, 40-minute rant calling out all the people that were talking shit to her over what is, to this day, the most lukewarm criticism I have ever seen of a movie in my goddamn life.
Oh, it is fucking hysterical. We're gonna pick up on that in just a second. Bunda saying bye, have a good night, heading off to play poker. All right, put everything on red.
I guess it was just there for wrestling news, but that's fine.
No, for real.
Please, those bastards, Bunda, and say hi to them for me.
Bunda, thank you for joining us tonight. Let other folks know that we're on, that we're live, and I hope you have a good night. Gamble safely.
Yes, Juancho.
No. Gamble as unsafely as possible. I want to see coke lines and knives being drawn. Bunda, are you fucking hearing me? You better come home with some blood on your shirt.
No, please don't.
And money in your pockets.
Yes. Oh, Lord. It is so ridiculous. You're going to love this. Someone actually screenshot Lindsay Ellis's final tweet before this entire mess went down. This is dated March 26, 2021, in which she stated in a tweet that will live in the most horrible forms of infamy and terror and deceit and monstrosity ever. Also watched Raya and the Last Dragon, and I think we need to come up with a name for this genre that is basically Avatar: The Last Airbender reduxes. It's like half of all the young adult fantasy published in the last few years anyway.
Oh my God, that's not even close to racist. That's just
not like that's just it. People were calling that racist and misogynistic and horrible and disgusting and destroying and the worst thing ever. And she's a scum of the earth and she's the worst person and she needs to be burned alive and we need to burn her and she needs to not make money and she needs to die and it's the worst thing ever and everyone has to agree, and if you don't agree, you're the worst thing ever.
Yeah, but that's
stupid.
It was stupid. It's not even close to offensive. Angel, do you find that offensive? That's not offensive.
A rational person would look at this tweet and go, "Oh, I guess she didn't like the movie." And to be honest, you know what the funniest thing is, though? Raya the Last Dragon came and went like a fart in the wind.
That's the sad
part. Pretty much,
almost
no one remembers about the movie, and every single video I found about the movie is complaining about the fact that the plot doesn't seem to know what the hell it wants to do. Now, I myself had not seen the movie, but even if I had seen the movie and I liked it, ultimately, like, oh well. Shit, I guess she didn't like the movie because she feels like it's trying to be like Avatar: The Last Airbender. That's like her opinion. But unfortunately, a bunch of her former fans didn't see it that way. And I managed to screenshot a few of those screens. I'm going to send them to you later.
Yes.
Dude, the things they were saying, you think that she put on a goddamn SS uniform, walked into the middle of a Jewish concentration camp and started screaming slurs. They are acting like she went into the blackest neighborhood in the world wearing that sign that Bruce Willis was wearing during Die Hard. You know the one.
Yes, I remember the one.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
or to Chinese
they,
people.
they
And
were behaving.
obviously, when she
they were-
went no,
They were behaving as if she was Edward Norton in American History X. You remember how Edward
Exactly.
Norton was? They were basically acting like she was that motherfucking character. Which, by the way, you got to remember, Edward Norton isn't that character. People are able to differentiate that from his actual him being a bit of a douchey dude. And they're able to differentiate the character, but they can't tell the difference between a sort of like, okay, I guess that's one comparison. I don't agree, but that's fine. And she's burning babies and eating their marrow.
Okay, no, I'm sorry. Idiots,
all the
unless she is
things to
citing or
complain.
praising Mein Kampf, you have no room to
It's
talk.
stupid!
Say that shit.
Everyone is stupid. It's like, okay, we're not actually literally saying that
Unfortunately-
stuff, but go on.
unfortunately, I'm afraid that you are more correct than you think, my friend. Because
Oh, no!
everyone applies to everybody involved in this. See, unfortunately, Lindsay took this shit very personally. It doesn't help the fact that, of course, eventually people began to ask, wait, why are they dragging her over this? Like, why are they dragging her over this when she's done way more questionable crap in the past? And she decided to address that in the video. And honestly, I really feel bad for her on this one because let's be honest, she was holding that bottle that said Writer's Tears, but let's be honest, that bottle got used. She was very clearly in a state of angry inebriation, and that caused her to say some really dumb shit on her part as well, to the point that in what I can only describe as an insane account, now make no mistake, I agree with 90% of everything she said there, because she was correct. The people that were once her most ardent fans genuinely turned on her over something incredibly innocuous, accused her of racism, refused to understand why that was not the case, and essentially just insulted her until she deleted her entire platform. Apparently, she made a new one. Best of luck with that. But
Like,
here's
she's
the
still
way
on
it's bad. I
Instagram.
feel like this got to her. Yes. Now, the problem is this got to her so bad that she ended up essentially flinging the blame everywhere, to the point that she says some stuff that counts very clearly in the stupid camp. Mainly, she fed the trolls. That's why I feel like, personally, making this video, while it certainly is a good idea to get your grievances out there, this is essentially a 1 hour, 40-minute troll feeding session.
Oh,
Because
God.
right now, if you look up that video, you know what everybody's talking about?
What?
Guess what everybody's talking about?
They're talking about the fact that it's an hour 40 minutes long and that she broke it into chapters, and they're basically calling it, wow, this album is so fire, I wonder when it drops.
No, it gets better. Now she has done the worst thing you could do when you're trying to make an angry rant.
What?
She has created memes. From
Oh,
now
no.
on, the term diet Nazi is now stuck to her for the rest of her life.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
No, she was calling
make
the
no
folks
mistake,
who were being
I-
assholes to her
But,
diet Nazis.
but Angel, continue on.
I understand the term where she's going, and I understand her anger. I do want to sometimes go into rants. But the moment you start comparing somebody to a Nazi, it's a good way to deflate the strength of your argument. I'm willing to forgive her because she was drunk. The two Jewish people that she pissed off by calling them that, even though they didn't particularly insult her, they're probably not going to feel too forgiving. And yes,
I
they
think
were
that's-
actually Jewish.
I think that's why she used the caveat of calling these folks diet Nazis, because they're basically being assholes, and like they're being proto-fascistic with how you must conform and you must do what they say you do, otherwise you're the worst thing, you need to be burned alive and shit. But they only mean
That's the
that shit
saddest
in
part.
terms of social media, and they only mean that shit
That's
in
the
terms
saddest
of
part. Those two particular guys were not actually insulting her. As far as I understand, one of those guys, like, his great crime was essentially going, this is what his comment boiled down to. Why are they attacking her over this? But unfortunately, she decided that guy had to go in there too, but that's another thing. The other problem is the fact that she apparently, not so sarcastic, into a extent of mild sarcasm, decided to forgive Movie Bob, who, as we know, is a certified creep and defender of euthanasia. But it essentially makes it come off disingenuous that she's essentially forgiving him only because the right people are insulting him.
Oh, boy.
That aside, though, I agree with everything else she said. They really had no right to attack her over this. They had no right to insult her over this. They had no right to lose their shit over this. And now the only thing left is a feature-length film of an angry woman in front of a camera with a bottle of alcohol and memes.
which is
So
really
overall, it's just a fucking disaster.
which is really sad, actually, because
It is.
and for anyone with any sort of intellectual curiosity and actually wants to see into some of the details of the shit that Lindsay was saying. In there, she opens up a lot about past experiences that she dealt with in terms of her growing up, her going into college.
Personal shit in there.
Really dark shit. I'm not gonna mention that because it ain't it's not my place. Also, Bunda left you a message, Angel. He said no Coke, only if it's cola. If he leaves to go play poker. But that's another thing.
You know what? It's about as toxic to you when you drink it, so fine.
Good point.
All
right, so on. But she opens up a lot about these personal experiences that she had dealing with people who were physically abusive towards her, and that's not cool. And she opened up a lot. It's like if you're only paying attention to 100 minutes long diss track album memery, then you're not going to actually get the fucking point of what she was trying to say. I'm also trying to break this stuff down because I know that our buddy Andy Signor was curious about this earlier this week. I dropped in the link on this. He's like, okay, that's an hour and 40 minutes. I really don't have the time in my day to dedicate on one person's YouTube rant. So we're really breaking this down so you get a little more of a Cliff Notes version for you there. So I don't blame you.
Here's the synopsis for you.
I don't blame anyone if they just want to go ahead and roll it out, but to summarize it, she really did try and break down like every single one of the accusations that folks are using, like saying, oh no, she has to be removed. She has to be deplatformed and destroyed. She has such a long and dark history of all these horrible things she's done. And she okay, thank you, by the way, for actually taking your time out of your day to quote unquote make a list of all the horrible things I've done. That gives me the chance to tick them off one by one and actually explain them to you and actually give you context. And if there's anything on there where I did fuck up, I'll go ahead and own up to that. But if there's something that you're blowing out of proportion, I'll point that out too. So that was wasn't that like in the chapter that said my list of sins or whatever?
That's the one.
Yeah. So she spent that portion of her video rolling that out. So and that's where we got into the discussion of her bad experiences and shit. But the point of all this is a lot of this boils down to people were just looking for an excuse to try and be an asshole to Lindsay Ellis. She's done funny shit in the past. She's done stupid edgy shit in the past to prove even in her own words, she said to prove that she's one of the boys and that she could be cool with the cool kids kind of shit. But it's stupid.
Everyone has done it.
Everyone's done it. We've fucking done it.
We've done it.
Your ass has done it, Jose.
We're doing it right now.
I mean, I'm still doing it. You know, I'm kind of edgy.
Yeah, not really.
I mean, I can be.
Sharp as a tack, that one.
Thank you. All right, my thoughts. I just think the whole thing is unfortunate, the whole situation. And, you know, it's unfair for someone like Lindsay Ellis to be bombarded and be overwhelmed by all these idiots on the internet that are taking it, twisting her narrative and it just to satisfy themselves and just looking for an excuse to throw stones at her. It's stupid. It's not good. It's really
that is 100% what I agree with. I may not agree exactly with everything she said on that rant video, but I agree with most of it because ultimately she is correct. I mean, think about how this whole thing started. She made an innocuous post criticizing a movie that she didn't like and criticizing the genre of the movie, and she gets accused of racism because it's a movie that predominantly features Chinese or Japanese Asian
folks,
somewhere in there. Asian. And that's enough for her to be accused of racism, which means that the aforementioned, the cancer that is cancel culture is growing to the point that you, even if you are a well-known, famous YouTube figure with hundreds upon thousands of followers, you are not allowed to criticize anything that may have a different race on top of it, because that is enough for the insane mob of Twitter to misconstrue what you say as racism and hound you relentlessly over it. Personally, I feel like the smartest thing she could have done would have been to just mute the tweet or ignore it until it went away. Make no mistake, I am not making light of the incredible frustration she must have been feeling when she did so. But I feel like the smart thing would have been to ignore it. But ultimately, it boils down to the fact that you can't trust your audience anymore. You will never know who is watching you because they like your content or because they are looking for something to get mad about. There is people out there right now actively looking for a reason to be unhappy and bitchy about it. And unfortunately, she ended up on the back end. And what saddens me the most is that I know for a fact, I've seen their names before. Many of these people praised her previously. Many of these people follow her fervently. but the moment she stepped one toe out of line, she had to burn like a witch. So yeah, no, they deserve every insult she hurled at them because that is exactly how they behave.
Yeah,
It's fucking dumb.
it is fucking dumb.
It is dumb as a stump.
You know, we hear the Ravens flock. We experience the same, like not at that level, but we have experienced our fair share of viewers watching our stuff. Like it's hard for us to differentiate who's watching and who's just there to just troll. Like in the past, we had people bombard our comment section with a whole bunch of bullshit. I'm just gonna summarize it and say it's all a bunch of bullshit. It's a bunch of garbage comments.
And somebody going out of their way to make a bunch of fucked up like Twitter, like no YouTube accounts, say like calling themselves Jose Casabona and putting like, oh, the Ravens talk is stupid, and try to downvote us into oblivion.
It's stupid, and quite frankly, those are not the people that I'm concerned about. Those are not the people that I care about putting our content out there. The people who have subscribed to this channel, who liked our page, who are following us on every social media outlet, those are the people that I care about because they have stood with us and they have followed us and they are interested in what we have to put out every single week, and I am damn proud of that.
That sounds familiar there, John boy. But you know what?
But it's
not wrong. It's not wrong.
No, 100% truth.